Hello, welcome to another Saturday Meditative Revelations from with Dave. I appreciate you being here with me today. Today, I'd like to build upon a revelation I had a couple of weeks ago and talked about when I talked about casting your cares upon the Lord and realizing that it was right next to the scripture that says, "Be sober and alert, for your opponent, the devil, is prowling like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour." The revelation that I had at that point was that it's so important to cast our cares upon the Lord, because if we don't, we become more vulnerable to the enemy who's constantly prowling, usually accusing us. And today I'd like to add another scripture to that. And the scripture is from Isaiah 26, verse 3 from the New Heart English Bible, which says, "You will keep him in peace." Some translations say perfect peace. "In peace, whose thoughts are fixed on you because he trusts in you." And again, that's Isaiah 26:3 from the New Heart English Bible. And that lines up with "cast your cares upon him," because the part of the verse from Isaiah that I want to focus on is the part that says, "because he trusts in you." I used to focus on that scripture because I was looking for peace, because, as I've shared before, my struggle in life has been with regard to anxiety. And so any scripture that talked about peace, I was interested in. So I would look at that scripture and I would say, "I will keep thee in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, or whose thoughts are fixed on thee." And I would just think about that portion of the verse, and I would try to obtain that peace. Notice I tried. That's the common theme of my misunderstanding of the gospel. But I tried to focus on the Lord, abide in him, keep my thoughts on him, and hope to be peaceful as a result. And I did find some degree of peace, and still find some degree of peace, by focusing on the presence of the Lord. If I'm focusing on the presence of the Lord within me, he's promised to never leave us or forsake us. So if I'm focused on him and his presence with me, and I know that he is the God of peace, and his gift to us when he left his peace, if I stay focused on him and his presence within the temple of my body, there is a certain degree of peace that comes to me. But when I think of the other part of that verse, that because he trusts in me, that to me now is taking on more significance, in one respect, just because of the way that it's versed. It says, "I will keep him in peace because he trusts in me." And some translations of the Bible don't even mention focusing our thoughts on him. They go right to "because he trusts in me," or "because of their faith." So when I think of that, the emphasis is different. And that's something about meditation that is one of the hallmarks of meditation, in my understanding, is that we can take different parts of a verse and focus on each part, and whatever part is pertaining to us at the time. Meditation, Christian meditation, biblical meditation, is unique and individual to each person that is going through that exercise at the time. And I like making it relative to the particular struggle that I'm going through, or the particular revelation that God has given me, because it's appropriate for me at the time. So don't try to pick something that's just way out there and not related to anything that you're going through. I mean, that's fine. Anytime you meditate on the Bible, you're going to have fruit produced, because his word never returns void. But especially when you're struggling with something, or you're interested in something, or you want to obtain more understanding or wisdom about a word, Those words in particular, I find particularly relevant and helpful to me because it's tied to a particular concern. And anxiety has been a struggle for me pretty much all my life. And so peace is something that's relevant almost all the time. So in this verse, again, it ties it to being trusting in God, knowing that He has our back. If we cast our cares on Him, that's a way of trusting Him. It's a practical rubber meets the road kind of thing. So they both go together, and that's why I thought of this, because I had spoken about that other verse a couple of weeks ago. And then when I thought of it tying to this, it was indeed a new revelation. And trusting and casting our cares are two sides of the same coin. And it's basically our belief in Him. And I think of that verse that says it's impossible to please God without faith. So not only is it bringing us peace, but it's pleasing God as well. So it sounds like something you can't go wrong with, a win-win situation. So that's what I was hoping to encourage you with today, that you can look to the Bible to find something that's pertinent to you, that's helpful to you. And this one has been very helpful to me, and I hope that it's helpful to you as well. So I pray you have a great Sabbath rest. It's in resting and being quiet and still that we come to salvation. So the Sabbath rest is a wonderful way to appropriate that scripture each weekend as we celebrate the finished work of Jesus Christ, that alone gives us the ability to rest in Him, that Sabbath rest that God has prepared for us. So I pray you have a wonderful Sabbath rest, a wonderful weekend, the hope of new and better weather as we are in spring now. I hear there's an 80-degree day coming up this week, so that's wonderful, something to be very thankful for. Again, I pray you have a wonderful weekend, a wonderful Sabbath rest, and that this scripture and meditation on scripture is encouraging to you. And God willing, I will see you next week. Okay, bye.